The News at Noon starts right now.
Dozens of Northside ISD students, teachers, and supporters are in Austin right now for PTA Rally Day.
Well, they left first thing this morning and are planning to make the most of their time at the Capitol today. And our Ernie Zuniga was there this morning when they took off and had a chance to learn more about their trip.
Thank you, ladies. Good afternoon to you. It was chilly this morning, but two packed charter buses left promptly at 7 a.m. from the Northside Activity Center, and we were there for the send-off. They printed signs. Even the Harlan High School cheerleaders made the trip to keep everybody's spirits up. There were T-shirts and snacks, and it was all good. The Northside ISD delegation has already held meetings this morning with their counterparts from around the state, and they just minutes ago wrapped up a rally outside the Capitol building. They're about halfway done with their day, and even the students felt it was very important for them to be there in person. Why do you think it's important that young people like you make this trip?
I think the lawmakers need to see that we are passionate about this too, and that we are, we stand with our district.
Well, we're definitely hoping to accomplish a better understanding of public school funding. We want to make sure that they understand where the money's going and why we need the funding.
I teach art. I've been in my room for 23 years, and I really know what the kids need. They enjoy art, they enjoy music. We need to make sure all of that stays funded for them.
And you think being there physically is more effective than doing 100%. It remotely?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
When you're shaking hands with the legislator, it really personifies what we're called to do and who we are as people, and putting a face to the cause is huge.
We want them to know that we're there, that they can hear us, they can see us, they can speak with us, whether we're for or against what they're trying to push, because they still need to hear from us as people, because we're the ones that put them in those offices.
All right, so that was Crystal right there. She put the whole trip together, essentially. So she and the Northside ISD delegation are about to get their chance to make their pitch directly to state lawmakers. They'll get about 15 minutes each with several state senators and House members to state their case and to be heard. And again, there are the Harlan cheerleaders we talked about a little while ago. After that, it's back on the buses and they will all come back home. The group should be back here in San Antonio by about 5 o'clock this afternoon. You can find out more about their trip on our website at ksat.com. Live in the studio, I'm Ernie Zuniga, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, Ernie. Good to have you here. Taking a look outside with live cam. Beautiful day, 63 degrees. We've been talking about riding the roller coaster. I think we've gotten off for at least a week.
We have. The weather forecast is stabilizing a little bit more this week. A lot of cheers because of that. It's going to be easier to keep up with the weather forecast as well over the next several days. It was chilly out there still this morning, but now very, very comfortable. Lunchtime temperatures in the 60s. Pretty much area wide. 63 here in San Antonio, 66 just up I-35 in New Braunfels, 63 over in Nixon, 65 your lunchtime temperature in Devine. So it is going to be very nice even into the afternoon. Total sunshine has already been found today after we did see a little bit of patchy morning fog. That sunshine is going to help boost high temperatures into the mid-70s, sunny and 75 later on today. And then those temperatures will start to fall into the upper 60s for any dinner time plans. 57 degrees expected around 10 o'clock. Clear skies still in place by that point in time. Winds will generally be out of the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now looking ahead, the warming trend, that is going to continue. Highs stay in the 70s each and every afternoon this week. That is despite a weak cold front, which will move in late Wednesday, early Thursday, knocks our temperatures down just a little bit. Again, still very comfortable, not packing nearly as big of a punch as the past several cold fronts that have pushed through the area. Still, I do think it will be a bit breezy on Thursday. When it comes to any rain, unfortunately, not looking great on that front. Just a small chance in the forecast, mainly on Sunday. We'll time out all these details and get you the latest look at your extended forecast coming up in just a little bit, guys.
Now I'm getting like black streaks.
Yeah, it almost looks like black mold.
Yeah, like it looks like black mold.
We got it too.
A big update to a story we've been following for 4 months now. We're looking into a private water company that owns wells in the Floresville area and across the state, providing brown or overly chlorinated water. Neighbors say the water quality is still poor, yet the company, CSWR, is now asking to increase rates for customers again. Just last year, the rates rose over 100% for this community in Floresville and over 700% for some other CSWR customers across Texas. And now the company wants to raise them another 50%. Outraged, the Arrowhead subdivision in Floresville held a meeting to talk about protesting the hikes, and KSAT was invited.
We're going to keep fighting that company. I know that they are probably tired of our neighborhood talking to the news and talking to everybody else about this problem, but we are not going to give up.
Tonight at 6, we lay out the full story, how past rate increases have already affected these communities, how their protesting has already pushed back the state's rate hike decision, and we get responses directly from the water company.
Well, the ballot order for San Antonio's next municipal election is now set. Dozens of city council and mayoral candidates gathered in council chambers this morning for a lottery to determine whose name will appear first on their races. So some insiders think the sooner and easier voters see a name on the ballot, the better it is for them. So that could be especially true with the San Antonio mayor's race, where 27 people are looking to win the open mayor's seat. At the top of the ballot of the race will be former Texas Secretary of State Rolando Pablos.
To another top story this afternoon, Texas state health officials alerting Bexar and Hays counties that people who tested positive for measles in West Texas have now visited San Antonio and San Marcos. We've not been told whether it was one person or two separate people, but the state says someone now confirmed to have measles spent Saturday, February 15th here in San Antonio. The areas that could have been contaminated are the UTSA main campus between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., the Wax Museum, Ripley's Believe It or Not, and Ripley's Illusion Lab, all that between 2:30 and 5:30 p.m. And finally, Mr. Krabby's Seafood and Bar in Live Oak between 6 and 8 p.m. Now to Hays County. On this map, it shows where officials say someone with measles visited the Texas State campus in San Marcos on Friday, February 14th. The health department says that person went to the following school buildings on campus that afternoon and evening, and then went to the Twin Peaks in San Marcos that night.
Well, UTSA has already responded to the news of this case, posting a campus update and putting a release on their website. So take a look. It says in part, we believe the individual's infectious window was likely after their date of the visit. However, out of an abundance of caution, we are notifying our community that they also say that they are working closely with the San Antonio Metro Health District to share information with anyone who may have been exposed to the infected individual, and will be monitoring their campus and community with any updates. Well, San Antonio Representative Joaquin Castro also making a statement online, posting on X that he and his staff are closely tracking the potential measles exposure in San Antonio that originated with a visitor from West Texas, urging people to contact a doctor right away if they occur, and saying that measles is extremely contagious and can be especially dangerous for children.
Yeah, so these are the symptoms you want to be on the lookout for: high fever, cough and runny nose, red and watery eyes, white spots in your mouth, and a distinct rash. If any of the symptoms develop, call your doctor immediately. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, one dose of the MMR vaccine is 93% effective against measles, and 2 doses is 97% effective. And to another health update now, the San Antonio Zoo is closing some of its bird attractions in what they're saying is an abundance of caution after a dead vulture was found on their property and could potentially have the bird flu. The zoo said that preliminary test results of a dead black vulture found on its property were not conclusive and were further sent in for testing. But the zoo is not taking any chances. They're closing the Hickson Birdhouse, Lori Landing, and Flamingo Mingle areas. Fish feeders, which attract birds, will also be emptied, and some other birds in the zoo's care will be temporarily relocated. The zoo remains open, and stay with KSAT.com. As soon as those test results are in, we will get that information to you. If you have pet birds at home, here are a few suggestions to protect them. Consider keeping them indoors, clean their cages, and change their food and water daily.
Well, coming up, time is ticking down to when federal workers are supposed to comply with requests made by Elon Musk, how they're now pushing back.
And a vigil for an 11-year-old girl, why some are calling for change after her death. In a matter of hours, this is the deadline for hundreds of thousands of federal workers to send an explanation of the work they've done in the last week or be without a job. But now the Associated Press is reporting that attorneys for the federal workers are suing billionaire Trump advisor Elon Musk, claiming he violated the law with this weekend demand. The White House hasn't clarified if that puts their Trump-nominated secretaries at odds with Musk. The National Federation of Federal Employees says workers should discuss the emails with their supervisors. Meantime, almost all full-time USAID employees are on administrative leave as of today. That follows about 2,000 layoffs in the agency yesterday. But as for these other federal workers facing that new deadline of 11:59 Eastern Time tonight, the Departments of Defense, Homeland Security, and State and Energy are actually telling their workers not to reply yet.
Well, meantime, NASA officials are working on how employees should respond to that. Many in the workforce are alarmed since Elon Musk announced that, quote, failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. So Nikki Fox, the head of NASA's science mission, told employees that it was an opportunity to showcase the great work that we do, end quote. Well, in a follow-up email, Fox told workers not to submit the response until further guidance from a supervisor.
Well, another agency recently impacted by those federal firings was the IRS, and the timing setting off alarm bells since most of us have to file our taxes by April 15th. But here at home, there may be at least some relief for you.
Yeah, if you live in Bexar County or near Fredericksburg, we know where you can get your income taxes done for free. So it's known as a Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or VITA. And Patty Santos tells us who's eligible for that service.
It is tax season. That means it is a very busy time for a lot of folks, a lot of families getting ready to file their taxes. Stephanie Smith with United Way. No matter how many times I've done my taxes, I always forget something. Remind us again what we need to take when we do our taxes.
You need to take a photo ID, your social security card for everybody that you're claiming on that tax return. If it's a couple, both social security cards, as well as any dependents, and then any W-2s or 1099s that you've received for any income that you've received over the last year. If you collect Social Security, you want to bring those documents as well to the tax site so that they have all your documents that they need.
Tell me what we're doing here at this community center in the east side. This is free tax preparation for the community.
Yes, and there are 11 sites throughout Bexar County, and it is staffed by staff and volunteers who go through an extensive training, a 20-hour training, and certified by the IRS to provide free tax returns for those earning $65,000 or less. Last year, we did the VITA sites did over 23,000 returns and over $31 million in refunds back into the community, in the pockets of our community members. But they saved over $5 million in fees that they would have paid to have their taxes done, which can go back into the pockets of the community so that they can take care of their families and decrease their stress with some of the financial struggles people are dealing with right now.
All right. Once again, this is for the community to get free tax preparation help. It is for those who make under $65,000. We have the list of all of the locations on KSAT.com.
Let's look out there with live cam. So nice to see that we're in the 60s now after that very cold and rainy Saturday.
Yes, it was very cold. It was drizzly out there. The sun has returned in full force. And yes, we could see a little bit of patchy fog over the next couple of mornings, but still plenty of sunshine in the forecast. Wish we had better rain chances, though. Take a look at the aquifer level for today. It is down 0.2 foot at 631.4. Actually 36.8 feet below the February average. Good news when it comes to the pollen count, though. Molds and elm, the only allergens present, and they are both low. We'll have a full check at that extended forecast and talk about these warmer temperatures coming up.
5 years old. Cutter.
81 points for Cutter.
Well, they raise a different kind of sheep down there. They're tougher to ride.
He's giving the double wave, everybody.
5 years old. Come on, Waylon. Ooh. Ooh. Are we looking at an 83-point ride?
Well, the city of Seguin reporting an 8-inch water main break. That's according to a post on their Facebook page. So it happened this morning near Weinert Elementary School. Seguin ISD will be updating families on afternoon pickup. The city says that the water service at the school will not be impacted, but some along the affected street might have some disruption.
And there is a major traffic closure happening right now. Our RJ Marquez has everything you need to know about the area being impacted and the alternate routes you can take to avoid it.
All right, we're going to see a lot of delays because of this major closure downtown at the Fine Silver Curve. So let's break this down for you real quick here. I-35 South to I-10 West will be shut down for better parts of the early afternoon till 3 o'clock today. So right now, TxDOT is asking our drivers to drive over to the South Alamo exit, then come back up 35 North and then get back to I-10 West. That is a possible option, but there is still construction there at Martin and Cesar Chavez. So one potential option for an alternate route would be San Pedro. Exit that, get on Elmira, and that'll get you back onto 10 West, or actually take you onto 35 South as well. As we've been saying throughout this entire portion of these closures here, we also have potential options that'll take you on Colorado Street to Buena Vista, also Fredericksburg to San Pedro, down to Main Avenue. Now remember, all these streets kind of run north and south, McCullough, Brooklyn as well, so those might be some potential options to get you to West, I-10 West if you're coming from south of downtown San Antonio. Also, you could take 37 and that'll weave you all the way around on the eastern parts of downtown. We're going to have a lot more information on this on ksat.com. Again, 35 South to I-10 West, the Fine Silver Curve closure because of construction today till 3 o'clock.
All right, thank you, RJ. Is it weird that we get to wear the same type of clothing for a full week?
I know.
It feels really weird.
In and out.
If you ask the weather over the past couple of weeks, it would probably say yes. It is a little strange. But I mean, February, we typically see a lot of ups and downs, and that is exactly what we saw over the past several weeks.
Definitely.
Now, we're going to be wrapping up the month on a steady note. Yeah,
I like
and
that.
a nice note.
Steadier.
Steadier. High temperatures in the 70s expected each and every afternoon. So yesterday we topped off in the 60s. It was about 20 degrees warmer than Saturday though. Today we're headed for the mid 70s here in San Antonio, upper 70s, even approaching 80 degrees already by tomorrow. We'll see a weak front work in late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. This one though is not nearly going to impact our temperatures as much as what we've seen the past several weeks with this parade of cold fronts that's been pushing through south central Texas. We're still going to sit in the 70s, especially Friday, Saturday, and into the back half of the weekend as well, mid 70s even into Sunday. For context, our average high is near 70 degrees, so we'll be just a few degrees above that into the afternoons, but still very pleasant and nice as we get ready to flip the calendar over to the month of March later this week and this weekend. In the meantime, though, I do want to time out your Monday. It is a beautiful way to start off the work week. 74 degrees expected in San Antonio by 3 o'clock. There's that forecast high right around 75 by 4 to 5 p.m. Clear skies will continue into the evening hours, allowing temperatures to drop off a little bit. We'll be in the upper 60s by 7 p.m., already in the 50s by 9 o'clock, then closer to midnight and especially into the pre-dawn hours of our Tuesday. Kind of like what we saw today, some of that patchy fog is going to start to develop yet again. But before we can get there, here's a look at your high temperatures across the area. 74 in Seguin, 76 your high temperature in Comfort, 77 for places like Castroville, Rio Medina, even stretching down Highway 90 near Hondo as well as Sabinal. Overall, if you are a fan of the warmer spring-like temperatures, this is going to be the week for you. I did mention the chance for a little bit of patchy fog yet again tomorrow morning. This is 4:15 across the coastal plains east of I-35. Some lower visibilities already starting to take shape. That will continue. Some of this could be dense in spots, especially south and east of the San Antonio area. That was similar to what we saw earlier this morning. So that'll just be something to keep in mind stepping out for the Tuesday morning commute. Probably a good idea to give yourself a little bit of extra time to get to where you need to be. We'll start to see those visibilities improve by mid-morning. Then by lunchtime, all of that is out of here, and we'll see more sunshine take over into Tuesday afternoon as well. The humidity will start to increase a touch into Wednesday. Then we see that next front move through just ahead of Thursday and Friday. This is the setup when it comes to the upper levels. Low pressure system moving across the lower 48. This is what's going to help drag that boundary through south central Texas. In terms of rain, it's just a 10% chance for a stray shower with that particular system. However, another low pressure system does look to approach at least the central plains by Sunday. Still, rainfall totals and rain chances not looking very impressive for us here in San Antonio. It's a 20% chance on Sunday itself. So we'll cross our fingers as we look farther into March to see if we can't find some more promising rain chances and a weather pattern that will bring that to us here in the San Antonio area. By the way, your morning temperatures well above freezing over the next week or so. Not seeing any indications of another freeze, at least in the foreseeable future. Today is significant when it comes to our last freeze in San Antonio. We'll tell you why coming up closer to 12:45, guys.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Mia. Well, coming up, Wemby has won over the hearts of San Antonio. The new mural wishing him well now that he's out for the season.
Well, we first told you about this last week, an 11-year-old Gainesville girl who took her own life after she endured bullying over her immigration status. A candlelit vigil was held for her over the weekend, and friends, family, and classmates of Jocelyn Carranza gathered for the vigil.
Another tragedy like Jocelyn's tragedy to happen again. Not in this community, not in this city, not in this state, and not in this country.
Well, Jocelyn's mother said the school where her daughter attended did not share any information that her daughter was being bullied before she died. Yet Jocelyn had been seeing a school counselor for weeks.
And her death is now sparking action close to home. The Uvalde Foundation for Kids announcing it's launching its own independent review of her death. In a press release, the nonprofit based out of Central Texas says it's received several requests from parents and school community members asking them to investigate. The review will include interviews with students and families and requests for an official state board of education oversight. The release also says it will look into school bullying incidents and school protocols.
Well, still ahead, the latest in the Pope's health, how he's doing today, and how local churches are keeping him in their thoughts and prayers.
Plus, the significance today has for the war in Ukraine and what world leaders are doing amid ongoing fighting.
We pray for him right now that the mercy of Jesus always be with him, always giving him the courage to go through this battle that he's suffering right now.
Well, a local message from Deacon Roger Macias in San Antonio resonating with Catholics around the globe. Prayers sent to Pope Francis from every corner of the Catholic religion over the last week as he deals with pneumonia. Well, the 88-year-old remains in critical condition as of now with decreased kidney function. Doctors say that he is receiving high flow of oxygen as a part of his treatment for pneumonia in both of his lungs. Now, in its latest statement on the Pope's condition, the Vatican says the Pope underwent more tests on Sunday as doctors treat apparent complications from his illness. The Pontiff showing slight signs of decreased kidney function, but his doctors say it is under control.
Today also marks 3 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The grim anniversary comes with Ukraine facing great uncertainty about its future, and European leaders have begun arriving in Kyiv as a show of support for the embattled country, especially after a comment from President Donald Trump saying Ukraine started the war. President Volodymyr Zelensky posted video on social media, scenes from the front line with the caption, quote, 3 years of resistance, 3 years of gratitude, 3 years of absolute heroism of Ukrainians. I am proud of Ukraine, end quote. U.S. officials have insisted Europe can no longer rely on Washington for its defense, and President Donald Trump has been in talks with Russia about ending the war. Zelensky also said Sunday he is ready to resign as Ukraine's leader if Ukraine is granted NATO membership.
Out there with live cam this afternoon. It's nice to be in the 60 degrees. And yesterday we kind of had a taste of nice weather as well.
Yes, after the cloud deck cleared and we had plenty of sunshine take over in the afternoon, it was a very nice end to the weekend. Some of the saturated grounds that we saw from the patchy drizzle on Saturday and just slightly higher moisture content through the morning hours did lead to some patchy fog this morning. Take a look at this KSAT Connect photo that was sent in from the Selma area. creepy fog on the morning walk with the dog, the caption there. I do think that we could see a similar scenes for parts of the area once again tomorrow morning and into Wednesday morning as well. But in the meantime, you can see plenty of sunshine out there with live cam this lunchtime hour. Temperatures warming up quickly. As a result, it is going to be a very nice and comfortable afternoon for us here in South Central Texas. 63 over at San Antonio International, upper 60s for places like New Braunfels as well as Seguin, even Kerrville, just 1 degree shy of 70 this hour. Mid 70s expected for your daytime high temperatures right around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Then we'll gradually see those temperatures fall into the 60s and later on tonight, even into the 50s already, especially by 10 p.m. Looking ahead to the next couple of days, even warmer by tomorrow. Upper 70s, I think some low 80s will be possible in a few locations after we see a somewhat chilly morning with another round of that morning fog. More of the same into Wednesday, however, a little bit warmer into the morning hours. Some of the cloud cover lingering on just a little bit more so into the afternoon. Then we see this next cold front somewhat weak in nature work in by Thursday. High temperatures, though, still in the 70s expected for the second half of the work week and even into the upcoming weekend. We'll get you another check at all those details coming up in just a bit, guys.
Thank you, Mia. Well, new mural of Victor Wembanyama has gone up on the city's north side. Well, Wemby is a rising star in the NBA, but was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. That was last Thursday, ending his season. Well, Gil's Tire and Wheel, an automotive tire shop located in the 6200 block of San Pedro, has a bit about the artist. It was created by Alan Calvo, who said he wants to help build a more sustainable San Antonio with eco-friendly skyscrapers. Now, according to the City of San Antonio's Arts and Culture page, he aims to educate the community with vibrant colors and historical references through mediums such as acrylic paints and concrete.
And you might have seen our Garrett Berger put together a giant Get Well Soon card for Wemby, and that card had dozens and dozens of signatures from people all over town. Garrett actually took the massive card to their practice facility on Friday. So from all of us here at KSAT Wemby, we hope you have a speedy recovery.
Yes, get well soon. And it's clear we love Wemby here, and the good news is that his team loves the community back. So the Spurs and the Frost Bank Center announced that they are awarding $200,000 to local organizations, Essence Preparatory and Say-See. It's part of their initiative, Operation Renovation. The money will be used to provide students with safe places to play and learn. Both companies have awarded this money since 2018 and 2019 season. So Essence Preparatory says they will use the money to install a new gym floor, build a dance studio, and upgrade sports equipment, plus funding for school events. And Say-See, a youth arts and mentorship program, plans to remodel their front entrance and student studios with the goal of creating a welcoming but private space. Restrooms will also be upgraded for improved accessibility. Operation Renovation opens up applications again in November.
Still ahead, highlighting children's literacy. The program's aiming to expand their love for reading or get them to pick up something new.
Well, did you know a good way to get kids into reading is bringing animals into the picture? So the San Antonio Public Library System says, why read alone when you can read to a dog? So happening today at 4 p.m., kids will be able to practice and develop their literacy skills by reading aloud to a therapy dog. This is happening over at the Sims Library and the Asino Library till about 5 p.m. when your kids get out of school. So the dogs at these reading times will be accompanied by their handler.
Okay, can we go?
Right now, that seems really cool.
Sign me
Oh
up.
my gosh, that's amazing.
And what a beautiful day for that as well, to get out and about. Pollen count, allergens are low, plenty of sunshine, comfortable temperatures. It was a cooler than average start. It was cold out there this morning. 40 degrees was our official low temperature, but with all of that sun, we will be warming things up. A warmer than average afternoon is expected with a high temperature of 75, nowhere near, though, the record of 90 that was set back in 1904. It just goes to show that February can bring us, yes, cold air, but also warm air as we get ready to gear up for the spring season. We will talk about this warming trend a little bit more in depth coming up after the
I know we're excited about the warmer weather, but on Saturday, because we listened to the forecast. So
Good job, Steph.
But we knew to expect better weather, but still when we were going through Saturday when, the freezing rain, it was just cold out there, and I was just like, okay, I cannot wait for it to change.
It was such, and I think it's because we had so many days back to back to back where it was just cold and then it was cloudy and the patchy drizzle did not help. It was just a very damp and dreary day. It's been so nice to see some of the sunshine and the warmer temperatures return. But with us now getting ready to transition into the month of March, we've gotten a lot of questions about, was this our last round of freezing temperatures for the winter season? Well, on average, according to a 30-year average, if we had to put a date for the last freeze in San Antonio, would actually be today, February 24th. Of course, that average is a little bit later up into the month of March if you live in the hill country, just because of some of the higher elevations up that way. However, this is a look at our latest last freezes on record in San Antonio. The latest last freeze that we've ever seen in San Antonio was April 3rd. Back in 1987, when we got down to 31. March 30th, 2003, and March 30th of 1944, we got down into the upper 20s and low 30s. So, of course, we'll still keep tabs on it, not out of the woods just yet, according to what history has told us. It's just as we get further into the month of March, our odds of seeing a freeze start to come down. And I have not seen any indications that we are headed for another freeze in the foreseeable future. And of course, that includes this week. It will still be chilly from time to time. Even tomorrow morning, we're in the mid 40s. Low temperatures in the low 50s by Wednesday and Thursday. We're back in the 40s by Friday. After we see that weak front push through, then we'll start to see some more humidity and moisture return, especially by Sunday and into Monday. And that's what's going to help low temperatures climb above average for this time of year. Our average low, 47 degrees. And speaking of which, that's actually the current temperature, at least close to it in Billings, Montana. Here's a look at the big picture. Low pressure system moving across the deep south. There's some rain and cloud cover floating across that portion of the lower 48, holding temperatures also to the low 60s. 79 in Abilene, though, starting to see the influence of a weak high pressure system off to our southwest move through. Some of that sunshine in the works as well across to the state of Texas. Here are the changes that work in, though, especially by the middle of the week. Another low pressure system moving across the eastern half of the nation, dropping this weak cool front into the San Antonio area. Just a 10% chance for a stray shower associated with that frontal passage. But then another low pressure system, another disturbance working into the Central Plains. By the weekend, thinking Sunday could potentially give us an isolated chance for a few showers to a stray storm, but unfortunately, rainfall totals not looking great for us here in South Central Texas, generally upwards of about 1/10 of an inch at best. You'd have to move into the Ohio River Valley area, even out near Florida, to find some higher rainfall totals over the next 7 days. We're upwards of about an inch to even 1 to 2 inches will be possible across the Sunshine State there as well. So still, of course, we will continue to keep you posted on that. Patchy fog still going to be a big story tomorrow morning and into Wednesday morning, especially in areas east of the I-35 corridor, but we'll still see plenty of sunshine into the afternoons. High temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, feeling very comfortable and spring-like, and those 70s still do look to continue throughout the second half of the week, guys.
We'll take it. Thank you, Mia. An anniversary in the Alamo City, this history that formed our city and how it's being honored.
This Rodeo Remembers, powered by your San Antonio area Chevy dealers.
The cowboy hat. Where did this thing come from? Well, in the 1850s, a young John B. Stetson left New Jersey and headed west. He came from a family of hat makers, and when he noticed the sombreros worn by the Mexican vaquero, it inspired him. Eventually, he created the Boss of the Plains, the first modern cowboy hat. So where did the vaqueros get their hat design? Well, during colonial Mexico, the Spanish brought a group of experts, African cattle herders, to Mexico. They were called the Fulani, and they wore hats. They also used ropes to herd. The Fulani might be where all this began.
Well, it is the fastest growing American whiskey brand in the country, and its story is a pivotal piece of Black history. The CEO and founder of Uncle Nearest Whiskey came to San Antonio to talk about her book, Love and Whiskey, and SA Live's Jada Pickett shows us that her journey started with a photo.
Fawn Weaver is a trailblazer who's redefining success in industries where few have dared to dream, let alone thrive. As the CEO and founder of Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, Fawn has built the fastest growing American whiskey brand in U.S. history, a $1 billion company that honors the legacy of Nearest Green, the first Black master distiller and mentor to Jack Daniel.
This is a story about an ally who wanted to make sure that his friend, his mentor, his teacher would not be erased out of history.
What drew me is first of all, the photo. We now know it's dated 1904. It's the only known photograph that Jack Daniel took with anyone else. Not only did he place the African-American man to his right, not only is it a very strategic positioning, but he ceded the entire center position of the entire photograph to that African-American man.
Fawn Weaver saw his legacy hidden in history and made it her mission to bring it to light. She didn't just build a record-breaking company, she redefined an industry.
Not only did Jack make sure that this photo was taken and that his descendants who took over the distillery and took over his legacy made sure that they continued to tell the story of not just Nearest Green, but also his sons George and Eli, who were also pivotal as the company continued to grow and become known around the world. It's one of those beautiful American stories that I wish we knew more of these stories. We've had allies like this throughout the course of history.
She founded Uncle Nearest in 2016 to ensure Nearest Green's contributions were cemented in history.
When I read that you went back to distillery number 7, where Nearest Green was the master distiller and you bought that property. First of all, let me get some fun. What was your life like before to be able to buy that land?
My husband and I were both real estate investors before this. So for us, it was a no-brainer because it was a real estate play. Most of the research I talk about in Love and Whiskey, most of that research was collected and brought to that property. The difference between Kentucky bourbon and Tennessee whiskey, or really bourbon anywhere, because bourbon can be made anywhere in America.
Right.
And Tennessee whiskey is a straight bourbon whiskey. But an additional step is added, and that step that is added is the Lincoln County process. That's taking traditional bourbon, running it through sugar maple charcoal before it goes into the barrel to remove impurities. And that's something that came in with the West Africans. It is what Nearest Green taught Jack Daniel. It is what differentiated Jack Daniels from everybody else in Kentucky. And so we love the process here in Tennessee, and we're grateful that we get to call it our own.
Now you have this book tour and you are going to different cities and states, and San Antonio happens to be one of those cities that you're going to be stopping at this week. What can guests who attend expect during this book tour?
It's an unfiltered book tour. All of the questions come from the audience. The Nearest Green's great-great-granddaughter and our master blender, Victoria Edie Butler, she then walks everyone through a tasting of 4 different barrels and master blends that she did specifically for the Love and Whiskey Unfiltered Tour.
Well, thank you so much again, Fawn. I really appreciate you for just sharing this story of hope. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jada.
For more on Uncle Nearest and Fawn Weaver, visit SALive.com, click on the As Seen on a SA Live tab, or just scan the QR code on your screen.
What a special backstory. I love that.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear.
Yeah. All right, SA Live airs weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSAT 12.
That's right. You can just scan the QR code on your screen right now for more arts, culture, food, and fun. And celebrating San Antonio is what they're all about. Well, defining chapter in Texas history started 189 years ago. So 1,800 Mexican troops surrounded the Alamo. And today is the anniversary that William Travis wrote his famous Victory or Death letter calling for aid.
The 250 Texans inside the mission fought for freedom and held firm against those troops for 13 days before ultimately being overwhelmed and defeated. The Alamo Defenders' sacrifice, though, would go on to inspire a battle cry, which would ultimately help secure Texas freedom from Mexico. Today, we continue to honor their bravery, their sacrifice, and their place in history. We will always remember the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo, that's right. All right, quick check at your current conditions outside now, up to 67 degrees here in San Antonio. Upper 60s approaching the 70-degree mark south of Highway 90. Already, though, a few 70-degree marks up in the Hill Country. 70 in Bandera, 72 near the Los Maples area. Plenty of sunshine in the forecast this afternoon. It is going to be a beautiful day. 75 degrees, your forecast high in the Alamo City. Then a little bit of patchy fog possible tomorrow morning. Wednesday morning, high temperatures still very nice. 70s will continue despite that weak front working in by early Thursday.
Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Mia.
So such a fan of the temperatures now.
Me too.
I know. Yeah.
Go out and make a good day out of it, a good week out of it.
For sure. Yeah, we're glad that. I mean, I know some people like the cold weather, but I'm glad that we moved on to the 70s now.
I know we deserve it.
Yes, we
yes,
definitely
do. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day.